to discuss about in particular. So in today's episode of What's Wrong with the NBA, we got a lot to discuss about, in particular with the face of the NBA, unfair criticism that comes behind it, some talking points that LeBron brought up, Stephen A. Smith's rebuttal, and quite frankly, a whole point that was completely missed by Stephen A. Smith, and I fear a bunch of other people in the media as well. Quick backstory, NBA ratings have been down, in particular in the early, decided early in this entity. There was a big debacle, festivity.
Why the fuck would anybody want to be the face of this league? You're going to get shitted on every network for not being somebody from 40 fucking years ago.
Stephen A. Smith and a bunch of other people responded to that, but I didn't necessarily deem it a big enough talking point.
It's y'all trying to create a narrative of who the face of the NBA is. The face of the NBA is Jokic or Luka. And we ain't mad. We saying he doing better than Jordan. We not even, we saying why didn't Jordan do this with his offense? No, we ain't even comparing the two. Jokic is the best offensive player we've seen. Let him be the face of the NBA. Ain't nobody gonna compare shit. We ain't gonna be sitting there like, oh, he didn't win a defensive player of the year award. Nah. He is sufficient enough in what he does and being the GOAT offensive player of all time and the GOAT teammate. Ain't nobody ever brought a trash-ass team to the finals and won it like that by themselves through the West.
To bring it to this channel, I actually did so on another channel of mine called The Lowlights. Go check it out, some stream highlights. But then from there, LeBron James, the player who has been the face of the NBA longer than anyone else, effectively said the exact same thing as well. Why would someone want to be the face of a league that completely and consistently gets shitted on and criticized routinely?
I'm gonna just be straight up, like, growing up, from 2000s to 2020s, there were so many faces of the league. I mean, when I first came up, we had Tim Duncan going crazy. We had the Pistons. Ain't no face on that team. It was 5 people coming out ready to bang. Then, Kobe and Shaq. LeBron got drafted, you know. Still Kobe and Shaq's league. LeBron doing his thing on a sorry-ass team. Still Kobe and Shaq's league. Dirk Nowitzki start going crazy. Still Kobe league. KD get drafted soon. Who that? Paul George, 07 Paul George. Was it 07 Paul George? That shit sounds crazy as hell long ago. That's crazy. It couldn't be 07 Paul George. It'd be like... But anyway, it's a lot of... I remember when people were sitting there like, is Paul George better than LeBron? Because that Pacers series, Paul George was arguably the best player in the court. Steph Curry, true face of the league.
Unfairly and unjustifiably.
I don't know. Why do you want to be the face of the league when all the people that that cover our game and talk about our game on a day-to-day basis on everybody? You have that responsibility. It's just weird. It's weird energy from the people that
You know, it's a weird energy. It's just flopping. Shit weird. If you just sitting there flopping, like, that shit kind of weird, no? Imagine you just playing a sport with somebody and you, like, literally move a little bit to the left and all of a sudden you just see them fall over. That shit would be weird as fuck, though. Just me?
James, he said it perfectly. Couldn't say it no better.
Greatest shooter God has ever created. 56 points. That's what we were going to lead this show with.
Till LeBron James opens his mouth. Oh, I can't wait to start today's show with that.
Crazy. I mean, you are quite literally proving the point. The criticism that LeBron had is how the game is being covered, and when having the opportunity to celebrate someone having a 56-point performance, you decide to pivot to something else. Already proving the point.
I'm gonna call it, like I said, this is straight.
Nigga, people drive 50 all the time. Corey Brewer drive 50. Derrick Rose drive 50 when he was 50. Like, come on, man. Like, people... What are we talking about, bro? Okay, so every day somebody scores 50, we got to go on ESPN and be like, wow, he scored 56. Nah. You the face of the league. You made a comment. Let's talk about it.
Yes, I'm not saying everything that he said was BS because I understand there's an enormous amount of pressure that gets elevated, fellas, when it comes to being the face of the league. I understand that, but I don't appreciate what he said. I really, really don't. And let's understand what the backdrop of all of this is. This is fresh off for All-Star Weekend, notifying the NBA an hour beforehand that he was...
Goofy. You think the league revolves around you, bro. It doesn't.
So they didn't have time to sit up there and get a replace for him, and then he showed up out there with street clothes on. Don't get me started with all of that.
Again, just proving the point, Stephen A. Smith. That's not where this started. It started with the other gentleman who also did not participate in the All-Star festivities, and Anthony Edwards. That's literally what this is talking about. But once more, you prove the point by leading with negativity instead of addressing what actually occurred.
There's so much stuff.
Did Anthony Edwards go about it in a corny ass way? Was it known that Anthony Edwards wasn't going to compete? Does Anthony Edwards have the responsibility of being the face of the league, not to troll the league and the fans? Was there fans who maybe love LeBron James, who maybe saved up their money to not go see him in the game, but go to All-Star Weekend and see him? Just to see his ass sitting there, petty as hell, like, oh, and then come out on a Monday or Tuesday after all the best players in the league had a long-ass weekend and he fully resting up and drops a lot of points?
Point to when you look at LeBron James. You can talk to the decision, okay? Self-aggrandizement at its height. What happened there? He has a 75-minute show, the decision to announce and surprise the owners.
Weird.
Then I'm leaving. You have to find out on national television with the rest of America. What did I say after that? I talked about how you handle stuff matters because the owners are going to come. What did they do? They came with a collective bargaining negotiation. They stripped basketball-related income by 7%, costing the league about $2 billion, okay? You had a Chris Paul trade that was going to Los Angeles for the Lakers. Dan Gilbert is the owner of the Cleveland Cavaliers and rallied the owners to go against the trade, so Commissioner David Stern nixed it.
Now, I can't show you too much of this because they will block the video due to copyright, but you kind of get the gist here. Stephen A. Smith, you have missed the point. And the fact, not only did you decide to leave with this story, but the way in which you approach this story further proves the point that you missed the point and you are the problem, or at least a part of it. Because what the hell does any of this have to do with Anthony Edwards not wanting to be the face of the league, and in large part due to the form of criticism, unfairly, that comes along?
Nobody's supposed to say, I want to be the face of the NBA. It's not something that you say. It's something that you earn. Other people tell you it about you. That's the most appropriate, proper thing Anthony Edwards could have said.
With it as well. Because let's actually give the proper timeline. Last year, Minnesota had a breakout season. Anthony Edwards himself had a breakout season. And in the middle of the year, what ended up happening? Bunch of Michael Jordan comparisons out of...
As it should. Compare fucking Luka to Larry Bird, too. I don't give a shit.
There. Even Anthony Edwards himself said, let's pump the brakes. We don't have to do that. Instead of just celebrating ant for ant, we need...
He didn't say let's pump the brakes. He said, chill out. He's the greatest of all time. And he was very conscious and said, I'm not there yet. It's a very appropriate thing to say when you get compared to the greatest player of all time, I think.
We have to throw MJ comps out there just so we can move things around because for whatever reason, the media has a hard time talking about the game unless it's associated with Michael Jordan or LeBron or Kobe. You cannot just celebrate these players for who they are. That's the only way that the media members know how to promote the game is if it's connected to nostalgia, which is the point in which Channing Frye was trying to convey earlier this week. The big form of criticism became early on this season, where unfortunately Minnesota were not producing at the level in which many people thought, and you had a bunch of criticism being levied towards Anthony Edwards about how he's not playing that well, how he's regressed because he's shooting a bunch of threes. Be very mindful that Anthony Edwards is attempting 10 threes a game and making 40% of them. Anthony Edwards is quite literally having one of the greatest three-point shooting seasons of all time. And the response isn't, why does he have to do this? But of course, the immediate response would be, well, I need to be...
Bro going crazy.
One of the greatest three-point shooting seasons of all time. And the response isn't, why does he have to do this? But of course, the immediate response would be, well, I need to be one of the very few three-point shooters on the team to get proper floor spacing to my unit. And his response was that of historic levels. Again, 10 three-pointers a game, making them at a 40% clip, but yet was still hit with criticism, furthering the point. Why would I want to be the face of the NBA when the only time you ever even talk about me is either A, when you're comparing me to Michael Jordan, or you're...
10 threes a game at 40% means you're hitting 4 threes a game for 12 points. A lot of people don't want to see 6 missed threes. We'd rather see you work for a 2-point bucket. If you can shoot 40% from the 3, then you could probably shoot 60% from the 2. Maybe even 65 if you fucking like that. 65%, 60% of 10 would be 6. 6 twos would be 12 points. It's the same math, bruh. Make the game fucking more interesting.
Telling me how bad I am.
Stop taking the easy ass way out and just chucking up 3-pointers, hoping 4 of them go in out of 10 is weird. Come on, man. Let's get back to basketball. Like I said, I don't play like that. If I go to the gym and play basketball, I'm the first to tell people, like, I played football, bro. Like, I really don't know what I'm doing out here. Then I barely catch a football, so, like, don't be trying to throw that basketball at me too fast, G.
The face of a league like that. And the fact that Stephen A. Smith, this is the talking point that we have for you, and you immediately start shitting on some of the lowlights or low points in LeBron's career, of which really and truly aren't that low. That's crazy. Again, this topic is not about LeBron. It's about Anthony Edwards. It's not about LeBron. LeBron just chimed in, but it's about Anthony Edwards. And here you go again, talking about LeBron.
Effort matters. I'm certainly not trying to imply that LeBron James or most players go out on the court and don't give effort. In between those lines, there's a lot to celebrate. I'm saying the sullying of the product. When are you going to take accountability for doing that to your own product? When I brought up the All-Star game, that doesn't play a role in you sullying your own product? When we used to lament local management, that didn't play a role in them sullying their own product?
Now, to be fair to Stephen A. Smith, I do believe there is some fair criticism there. They've really taken control a little bit too much and leveraged themselves in a situation to where it has damaged the product in some capacity. However, the problem with some of the criticism, where it can be fair, a lot of it also is still unjust. Legitimate problems with their body. They shouldn't be really out there playing. Which is why Embiid just concluded the season is going to sit out for the rest of the year. But everyone speaks about it like...
Then why did Embiid play the whole Olympics? No problems, right? Is this the process? You sticking up for this shit is crazy. Well, you getting paid $200 million just to fucking have a boob on your ankle, nigga, but then play all for the Olympics. How much you get paid for the Olympics? Is it a volunteer type shit? I don't think you even get paid for that shit.
Low managing. No, the nigga he's injured, bro. He's injured. Curry, KD, LeBron, if they sit out games, it's okay. They're 35, 36, 37, 38, 40 years old. They're older. Now, again, players not playing hard or not getting their bodies correct because they're not conditioning properly in the offseason, et cetera, that's one thing. And I understand the criticism always is there for those people. The problem, however, I still feel like needs to be stated is that happened in the 90s and 2000s. And yet, we don't bring it up. We don't talk about it. For those who believe that I'm lying, ask yourself, why did Scottie Pippen miss half of the season in the 97-98 year? Why did he decide to choose not to have a surgery into the beginning of the season that he knew was going to cut into the year where he was going to miss half of the regular season? Why is it that Shaq all throughout the late 90s never was able to play a full 82 or anywhere near close to that? Why is that? Why is it Shaq also waited into getting his procedure done before the season began, where he infamously said, I got hurt on company time, so I'm going to rehab on company time? Why is that? Why? Oh, you don't want to say? Why did Adrian Dantley sit out games? Why? Why did Scottie Pippen quit on his team in 94 playoffs? Why? Why is Dennis Rodman throughout his career in certain seasons, he's just randomly missing games? Why? Because it wasn't injuries. He needed a break from the game, so he had to go to Vegas. That's what Dennis Rodman did. And yet, when talking about Dennis Rodman,
take breaks, bro. You talking about Adrian Dantley. You talking about fucking second fiddles on teams, bro. Even Shaq could do that shit because he knew he had Kobe to fall back on. That's why Shaq ain't even top 10 like that. Most dominant, cool. Like, but top 10 basketball players? Nah. Maybe, but nah. You talking about Adrian Dantley and Dennis Rodman, maybe the third best player on this team, like, We talking about leaders of the team, bro. Not taking no days off, having that mentality. Why don't you show like Kobe's game played per year, MJ's games played per year, like actual faces of the league that fucking matter, that we care to talk about? Who the fuck is Adrian Dantley, bro? Not even like that. Like, big love, good, smooth ass hooper. But what is that bringing up? And you know how many games, like it's like me saying in 20 years, you know how many games Jamal Murray played? Like, okay, the nigga was actually injured.
You all don't bring up those trips to Vegas. You talk about he's a hard worker,
This nigga's-
dirty work guy, rebounder, and it's not to say that
This
those
nigga's comparing the most paid, overpaid player of all time, Joel Embiid probably, to Adrian Dantley. Like that just, you making a point right there by saying that shit.
characteristics are not true about him. You decide to speak about him in that way, in that light, because he's an all-time great, even though he had plenty of shortcomings. That's how you decide to speak about him. In today's game, absolutely not. If there was ever a player in today's game in the middle of the year that decided, I need a break from the game. I need a break. And they went to go play, they went to go to Vegas to go gamble, Atlantic City to go gamble. I'll let you all believe how you think Stephen A. Smith will start that episode of First Take.
And all they do is S on players.
I think that we have a responsibility in this business to do two things. Provide entertainment and to also provide analysis. And very few are better at the entertainment portion, especially this show, than First Take, right? But the analysis is, I think, what players are looking for more. Even today's show is a good example. How much have we talked about Steph Curry dropping 56 and those 391 points? But the conversations that are overarching sometimes do a disservice to the league when you think about all the achievements that some teams have had. I mean, we're at a point where there are multiple teams that can come out of the Western Conference. But these are the natures of the conversations that we're having.
I will come back to you on that. Go ahead, Gil.
You just completely dismiss everything she said, even though what she clearly got the sentiments of what LeBron was trying to say, and he completely dismissed it.
Bleakman on the league every day. We celebrate the league. We talk about it, but it's competition. Some are going to be rated high, some are going to be rated low. You're talking about it all. They brought up the Inside the NBA weeks ago. Inside the NBA, Barkley, Kenny Smith, Shaq. Are you kidding me? They denigrate the game? We denigrate the game?
The fact that he said it that way is crazy. Yes, they denigrate the game. I think they're actually the worst at denigrating the game.
It's like niggas want to talk about people that played in the 80s, but then also say it was the fucking Plummer era. They want to talk about Adrian Dantley taking games off. Like let's look at Adrian Dantley's stats. Joel Embiid puts up 30, then takes a year off. Adrian Dantley, career high, 30.6, 30.7. Play 80 games one year and 22 the next. 79 games, 30 points. 81 games, 30 points. 68 games, 28 points. 76 games, 29 points. Should we look at Embiid's?
Because if the audience is telling us, I'm talking in terms of what we talk about. I'm talking in terms of what we talk about. The audience decides. Because if the audience reacts to you talking about Tatum, I said if the audience reacts to you talking about Tatum less than they react to you talking about LeBron, you are going to talk about LeBron more.
What about the audience reacting to Stephen A. talking? What about the audience reacting to Stephen A. talking? You have power.
You have the most power.
You have the most power, and I think that's what the players realize.
So what do y'all say? You have the most power. I talk about it. No. I talk about it.
Stephen A., you're saying lead the audience, and you can be the trailblazer, lead the audience.
Get your trailblazer. I can make an argument, and Molly can attest to this. I can go back and...
Joel Embiid never played over 70 games in the season. Most games he ever played in the season is 68. It's 14 games missed. It's over damn near 10% of the fucking games missed, man. That ain't right. You just compared him to Adrian Dantley, who played over 70 games multiple times in his career. Joel Embiid's best year, he averaged 33.8 points in 68 games. 30 No. Shit. 33.1 in 66 games. So sometimes if you're taking 16 games off in the year, maybe it's easier, especially if you're sitting out ducking Jokic every day. Like, it's probably easier for you to keep your stats up of dropping 35 every game when you take in 1 in every 4 games off, buddy.
Archives that show you that I've done things on First Take in this show.
But then you don't take a game off against the whack-ass Pistons or some shit. Interesting.
First Take has done things in terms of subjects that we've tackled that nobody would even touch until we tackle this.
Man, the irony of how all of this ended, and yes, that is quite literally how the segment ended. Stephen A. Smith, for you to sit there and critique LeBron out of nowhere for something that had nothing to do with it, about him self-aggrandizing himself back in 2010 with the decision, for you to then end this segment talking about how your catalog and how y'all were first to everything and people need to go check your catalog, that's crazy. The irony for you to sit here and say that you talk about everyone, y'all talk about multiple discussions, when the topic that we're talking about is about Anthony Edwards in media, but you still pivoted to LeBron. Crazy. But in a much bigger scope here, because I believe...
I don't get what's so crazy about that. It's a good point.
Let's make sure that we get this clear. Anthony Edwards and many other people may not want to be the face in the NBA because the media coverage...
He not saying that, bro. He said pipe down with it right now. I ain't even been to the finals yet. Why are you calling me Michael Jordan? Yes, the game could be similar. The athleticism could be similar. The fucking cool athleticism, all that shit could be similar. Ain't nobody sitting here talking about, man, I ain't like... No, Anthony Edwards ain't saying he don't want to be. And if he is, he don't want that pressure. That's why. It ain't because of the scrutiny. LeBron James said it's because of scrutiny. Anthony Edwards says it's because of he ain't there yet. And that's facts.
It's heavy-handed in negativity. And what makes it worse is that when you then have heavy-handed in negativity compounded with romanticizing what happened 10, 20, 50, 30, how many ever years ago, which is nostalgia, you are setting yourself up for failure when it comes to today's NBA players. Against Stephen A. Smith.
Nobody worried about nostalgia, bro. The league is great. The league been great. Like 2010 to 2020 with Curry, KD, and all them boys. Like, and the fucking, oh my God, like the rivalries with LeBron and how LeBron was coming because he had a vengeance to be better than Jordan. Like, dude, that shit was tough, bro. That shit was fucking tough. 2000 to 2010 with the Kobe's and the Dirks and the T-Macs, man, and the fucking Steve Nashes and the Amari Stoudemire's, bro. That shit was tough. And the KGs, bro. You know, the weak-ass team not jumping ship. You know how many people were happy, like, when in Minnesota when KG got traded, bro? We fucking love KD. We were still rooting for him, bro, because he did this shit right. It was fucking basketball, nigga. Motherfucker, like, wasn't even like that, bro. LeBron is corny, bro. That's why people don't fuck with that nigga like that. Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5. Motherfucker ain't even man of his word, nigga. Go win the championships and then fucking talk about it, bro. If you the face of the league, bro, why you saying shit and not fucking following through with it? You ain't gonna catch me saying I'm gonna win 8 championships and then fucking win 1, 2, and beat deuces, y'all.
Please do not tell me you don't understand that when you sat across Skip Bayless for years. Please don't tell me you don't understand that. But again, it's unfair because you are removing all of the negative criticism that came along with everything that occurred 10, 20 years ago and now claiming that this didn't happen back in my day. I can quite literally find you article clips of people criticizing the All-Star game in the early 2000s. About how there was laxity. Daisical defense. That's been an ongoing thing for years. Another great example. There's an interview out there with Allen Iverson where he was sitting down with some podcasters and they're sitting there talking and he said...
So now we talking about the All-Star game that niggas played in? When did somebody just fucking cancel the All-Star game an hour before? Like find a clip of a face of the league doing that. The All-Star game always gonna be the All-Star game, just like the football game. It's like niggas ain't really trying to hurt nobody. This halfway through the season, like we gonna put on a show, but we ain't gonna put on no show. But it's gonna look like a show because it's WWE damn near. But the ball still gonna go through the net. But I ain't sitting here trying to fucking fight past the fucking double team, bumping my knee into somebody else's knee.
Upset, hey man, I skipped practice. You know, I wasn't there. I didn't practice, or I didn't want to be there. And the podcasters, the people interviewing him, you can literally sit there and watch them just get so disappointed to the point where they're actually trying to finish a sentence form. They don't want the truth to be revealed.
So you didn't have a pattern of skipping practice. You went to practice, but you just didn't like certain things.
I had a pattern of skipping.
Yeah.
Because they were doing drills that day.
No, sometimes I was out too late, and when I come in there, I don't feel like it. You know what I mean? I'm a man. I'm a human.
You're a hawk.
I'm just telling you what you want me to lie to you, make it sound fly to you.
Yeah.
I was not Kobe. Kobe was something else.
That's why Kobe was the face of the league. And Allen Iverson was just a cold-ass hooper. Allen Iverson was one of the coldest hoopers of all time, but was never the face of the league. You understand? Hey, I had some AIs back in the day, some shoes. He was the fucking coldest hooper. But AI wasn't the face of the league. So, we didn't have expectations for him to win the fucking finals. We didn't have expectations for him to be the face of the league and to carry. If you're the face of the league, you don't do cringe, corny shit. That's what it is.
Oh no, man, no, don't say that, AI. Don't say that. Because now what ends up happening?
What?
Don't say that, AI. Don't say that. Because now what ends up happening is you live in nostalgia land, and now somebody has to take you out of it. Because that's how you live. That's all that they live in. The truth to them doesn't
It's the same shit. History repeats itself. You played for the what? The Philadelphia 76ers back when they had the cold ass black and red uniforms. Them black, red, and white uniforms just go so hard. I don't know what the fuck they doing now with that red, white, and blue shit. They need to switch that shit up. I don't give a fuck about no Liberty, Peace Bell, or anything. Put the black and red uniforms back on, but every 20 years, you know, history be repeating itself sometimes and shit. And then you got another nigga who ain't just skipping practice. He's skipping seasons.
Because they remember it however they want to remember it, because that is their attempt to preserve history.
No, you're creating a narrative how you want to create the narrative. I don't know if you're getting paid. Like, obviously you're getting paid off of YouTube views and shit, but I don't know if is there something else that's making you want to create these narratives, because the shit logically ain't making sense.
What's happening is
LeBron ain't exposing shit. The NBA media has been exposing LeBron for years. What is LeBron exposed? Like, what is LeBron actually ever exposed? That he ain't like that?
we speak about Allen Iverson with such high reverence.
And I'm commenting on the fact of LeBron not being like that comparative to the other GOATs. LeBron is still a nuts ass human. Like nuts. Do I want to play LeBron one-on-one? Probably not. Does Jordan? Does Kobe? Yes. Does even KD, T-Mac? Yes. Do these motherfuckers, do they care? No. Because when you see somebody who just cheat the game, you ain't afraid of them. You ain't afraid.
That people tend to forget all the things that he just said is true. Iverson didn't practice. That was a thing. That was a real thing. Iverson didn't practice. He went out there and partied, he smoked, he drank, all those things. And like Iverson said in that clip, I was not Kobe. But what happens is, because Jordan was the face of the league and Kobe was the face of the league, they, for whatever reason, believe that everyone adopted their mentality. Those two are special. Those are in different classes. Okay? Let's be clear. Same thing with LeBron. What LeBron is doing in year 22 at the age of 40, that's different. Those three are...
It's not that different. It's not that different. Basketball is becoming such a technical sport. Basketball used to be speed, power, and technique. If you 40, you still got technique. I guarantee you see the video of Wilt Chamberlain doing a tip ball with Ricky Shaq and getting ready to do that shit. I guarantee you him at 50 or 60 could still get some points in the NBA. It's not that crazy. Just because LeBron wants to stay and get more clout and work his way to a Billy and not talk about the Chinese sweat factories and the child workers in China. If he wants to keep pushing for Kamala Harris and take an L on that too, cool. But it has nothing to do with none of this shit, bro.
They're different. What's happening is that's how they tell the story. And so if you ever were to compare someone to Allen Iverson, they're going to view it through the lens of nostalgia. They're not going to bring up the fact that he didn't practice, that he was out late, he was out in the club, he was doing his thing. He didn't take it as serious as someone like a Kobe Bryant. But that's not how they're going to present it to you. So now a player in today's game has to go up against someone like Allen Iverson, but not the true version of him, the one that they romanticize.
Who in today's game is going up against Allen Iverson? It's not that hard. Allen Iverson was iconic. You never gonna beat Allen Iverson's iconic, and you can do that without going to practice if you actually like that. Ain't nobody really trying to fucking get up on Allen Iverson.
It's unfair. That's what people are trying to tell you. They're comparing what's happening now back then. It's unfair. So when you sit here and you criticize, for example, the slam dunk contest, and you say something as silly as LeBron ruined it, it's unfair because what Stephen A. Smith doesn't tell you is back in the day, during the 90s, right after Jordan and Dominique had their terror of ridiculousness and entertainment in the late 80s, the 90s dunk contest was horrible. So bad that they literally canceled it. But if they don't tell you that, it would feel like, oh man, recently it just feels like the dunk contest has been so bad. The dunk contest has always been hit or miss. They don't tell you how players back then used to miss games all the time and do whatever they want to do because everyone, again, was not Michael Jordan.
That's cool. We're not talking about average players in the NBA. We talking about the faces of the league, bro. You keep moving the goalposts. Face of the league. Every other player. Face of the league. They don't want to tell you that the dunk contest and this and that, and players were always skipping. But the face of the league, Kobe and Michael weren't skipping. So, but LeBron, and he's held to these expectations. Do you want to be a player in the NBA, or do you want to be the face of the NBA? It's not fucking rocket science.
Everyone, again, was not Kobe Bryant. Everyone was not playing 82 games. Everyone wasn't Karl Malone. Everyone wasn't those players. There's several players who missed games back then. And I would much rather have someone...
And how did that work for them? Probably 4 and 6 in the finals.
Missing games due to load management and trying to preserve their body rather than taking trips to Vegas, but they don't tell you.
I would have rather had LeBron never load manage. If he did load manage and go fucking 5-0 in the finals, then load manage and have a twice as long career and go 4 and 6.
Those things. So when it comes to being the face of the NBA or just any star in today's league, you're being compared to Michael Jordan, the legacy, but not the losing, not the process, not everything that came along with it, not the bad press of him being a ball hog. All it is 6-0. And please don't tell me that's not what it's been, because we all know every debate boils down to that anyway. When it comes to being compared to Kobe Bryant, it's just 6-0. Came up the seat, but not the losing, not the process, not everything that came along with it, not the bad press of him being a ball hog. All it is 6-0. And please don't tell me that's not what it's been, because we all know every debate boils down to that anyway.
Not the ball hog, not the losing. Bro, you reaching so hard, bro, you're gonna hurt your arm, bro. Like, you gonna damn near tear your pec or some shit, bro. It's not like knock on wood, bro. Like, I don't never wish no bad on nobody, but like, be a ball hog and win. Nigga, do what you gotta do to win, bro. Like, what are we talking about? Have you ever played a sport, bro? I will hope if we got a guy in the team who can win the game, be the ball hog.
When it comes to being compared to Kobe Bryant, it's just Kobe Bryant.
Even Kobe, you got the most dominant player of all time. Nigga, you so dominant, get my rebound if I miss, bro. His three's worth more than that shit anyway. Get your stats up, bro. Get your boards up. You're supposed to have boards, not just easy dunks, nigga. Get a board if I miss. Kobe a ball hog too. Look how I did for him. Better resume than LeBron.
I'm a battalion 5 championship, not all the other things that came along with it, all the process, the losing, which is crazy to me. Because people act as if like they've always loved Kobe, and that's not a fact. There are people on ESPN right now who used to trash Kobe, but for whatever reason, to get off whatever narrative they need to get off, now all of a sudden they just, he was always beloved. No, he was not. When it comes to Allen Iverson, you get compared to the romanticized version of him, not the man who didn't play hard in practice, who was out smoking and drinking, who wasn't as dedicated as a lot of his peers. When you get compared to Vince Carter, you're getting compared to...
Why John Morant not the face of the league? Because he ain't the face of the league. Look at what he does. Look what he does on his off days. They not going to be the face of the league. So we're not going to compare him to Michael Jordan. We're going to compare him to the other non-faces of the league. It's pretty simple. We compared John Morant to fucking Dennis Rodman for all I give a shit. We ain't comparing him. It's different fucking tiers, bro.
The nostalgia version of him. Not the man who everyone believed quit on the Toronto Raptors. When you get compared to Charles Barkley, you're getting compared to the nostalgia version of him. Not hard in practice, who was out smoking and drinking, who wasn't as dedicated as a lot of his peers. When you get compared to Vince Carter, you're getting compared to the nostalgia version of him. Not the man who everyone believed quit on the Toronto Raptors. When you get compared to Charles Barkley...
Vince Carter wasn't the face of the league, bro. This is nothing, has nothing to do with anything. You made a 21-minute video talking about a bunch of other shit that you ain't even fucking talking about, bro.
You get compared to the round amount of rebound. Not the man who purposely gained weight so he didn't get drafted to a certain team, who then cried and complained about being on the Sixers, so much so that he had tantrums on the floor, kicking people, spitting on children. The man that tried to force his way to the Portland Trailblazers on his own merit, flew out there, talked to the general manager, told him who he needed to trade so he can build a super team alongside Clyde Drexler. Most people don't even know that story, but it's a fact. Charles Barkley himself has openly admitted it. You don't get compared to the Scottie Pippen.
And then, bro, who was the face of the league then? Clyde Drexler? Not Charles Barkley, boy.
Put on his team. You get compared to the hard-nosed defender. Even though these are all things that are a part of the story of who all of these people are. Anthony Edwards saying that he does not want to be the face of the NBA. Why? Y'all forcing a label on him by comparing...
He never said he don't want to be the face of the NBA. Did he? I gotta look this shit up.
Michael Jordan, even though he's telling y'all, bro, I'm not there yet. Don't do it. And then after he exceeded expectations last year, inside the NBA, ESPN, first things first, most of these major media legacy networks have not said anything about Anthony Edwards outside of how he's regressed, he's not playing that good, all he's doing is jump shot shooting, even though he is historically great from behind the arc this season. 10 threes, making him at a 40% clip. And while all this is happening, Jason Tatum is sitting right there saying, it's me. I'm the face of the NBA. Giannis sitting right there saying, I'll be the face of the NBA. Put me on the Christmas games. I'm here. And in response to what y'all saying, Giannis, you're a foreigner, and I'm xenophobic, so I don't give a damn. Tatum, it's a no. Even though both y'all won championships, Giannis a multi-MVP, DPOY, both y'all had playoff success, been dominant.
No, not really. Why? That's what they got. That's what they got win before. Consider yourself the top candidate to be the next face of the league.
Do you consider yourself to be a top candidate to be the next face of the league? No, I'm not the top candidate. Wemby got more hype than anybody ever coming through here. Y'all already hyping him up. Nah. And I know what happens when people say I'm going to be the face of the NBA. It don't work out. You don't tell people your fucking plans, bro. Did he say, I don't want to be? He said he didn't see himself being... Y'all niggas forcing shit.
Because you don't remind me of Michael Jordan. You don't love Anthony Edwards, or you want him to be the face of the NBA because you love Ant. You want Anthony Edwards to be the face of the NBA and put that...
Anthony Edwards not going to be the face of the NBA because he's fucking too worried about spilling his seed everywhere. And he taking his energy from basketball and giving it to fucking random thoughts on OF and shit probably. As great as he is, he could have been greater. Why Derrick Rose got fucking ankle and ACL injuries? Same reason Adrian Peterson do. Because they fucking on bitch letting their seed go. Their seed is the oil, the lubricant in your body. And Kobe said, you got too many distractions. You worried about too many thoughts, bro. I'm in the gym training, bro. I'm having kids with my shorty. What are you doing? I don't care if you had a mistress. These niggas opportunists. What else can I get? What else can I get? What else can I get? Kobe got his shit. He's like, I'm in the gym. I can manage this and that. Then Edwards like, I'm already cold. Waking up at 4? Hey, I said waking up at 4 in the morning? I ain't even being at the 6 p.m. practice. Why the fuck I'm waking up at 4 to train for? Weirdos.
Pressure on him because he reminds you of someone else. Think about that. This shit not even really, it's still not even about Anthony Edwards. It's deep rooted to Michael Jordan propaganda. This whole conversation. Giannis is right there. You say no because you're not from America.
Giannis ain't the face of the NBA because he's not the best player in the NBA right now. It's pretty simple. Is that rocket science?
MJ was. Tatum is right there saying, I want it. You're from America, but my dick don't get hard, and I don't get that special tingly feeling like I did when MJ was playing. But boy, that brother out there, man.
Jason Tatum not like that, bro. You're a glorified Tyrese Halliburton, bro. Give Tyrese Halliburton, Jaylen Brown, and the whole Celtics team, and I bet he'd do some shit with it too. Like, with the best team in the NBA, bro. Fucking Jason Tatum, corny as shit too. Ah! Like, what are we doing, bro? What are we doing?
The way he does that shimmy baseline fade, it reminds me of Jordan. That's why he has to have it. Yes. He has to have it. Because it reminds me of an era of basketball that I love to romanticize, and I'm stuck in nostalgia. You missed the point, but you did it on purpose because you don't want to admit what the fuck you've been doing for years now. The damage that you've done. Everything is deep-rooted in nostalgia baiting. You don't even love things.
No, people set the standards for the NBA, and there's gatekeepers just off of what's been done before. Will Chamberlain, highest scoring. He's a gatekeeper for the highest, most dominant game ever. Now, are we going to be nostalgic and say, oh, well, Kobe scored 81, Luka scored 73, and you guys should be nostalgic for Will Chamberlain? No, it's facts. When greatness comes, we remember the greatness and we say, hey, do what the greatness did or better, or don't get compared. We have seen faces of the NBA before. We've honored them and respected them because they deserved it, and they moved accordingly. These ain't moving accordingly.
Why are you this upset about it? You don't even really love that brother. He just reminds you of Michael Jordan. That's it. But yo, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Until next time, I'll see you all later. Peace.